Welcome to the Retiring Canada podcast, where our mission is to educate and empower you to make the most informed, rational, and productive financial decisions. Hosted by certified financial planner, author, and chartered investment manager Michael Isbister, you'll go behind the scenes to uncover the tips and strategies to help you invest smarter, optimize your retirement income, and reduce the amount of tax you pay. Michael is an investment advisor with Fundamental Wealth, a trade name of Harbourfront Wealth Management, an IROC dealer. And now, here's your host, Michael Isbister.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Retiring Canada podcast. In today's episode, we're going to discuss what to do if you don't have enough money to retire. Specifically, we're going to discuss how to maximize your government benefits, the potential amounts available based on your household income, the importance of filing taxes and applying for these benefits, the consideration of selling your largest asset to fund your retirement, and as always, some action items for you to consider. Let's get into it. The discussion about retirement can make many Canadians anxious. But what makes one pre-retiree anxious about retirement would perhaps be a dream scenario for another. You may be wondering, is $1 million enough to retire? While someone else may be concerned about how an unexpected $1,000 expense would be extremely difficult to manage. In my world, we make our living helping Canadians manage their investments. That's a part of the deal. We provide value to our clients in a way that outweighs the fees our clients pay, and in return, they entrust us to manage their nest egg and ensure they will have a sustainable retirement. But what if you don't have enough money to be able to gain access to a fee-based certified financial planner professional? Well, there are definitely fee-only advisors out there who will charge you a flat fee or an hourly fee, but again, this can be prohibitive to some. An hourly fee from a certified financial planner can range anywhere from $200 to $1,000 or more an hour, while a flat planning fee can have an upfront cost of $1,500 or more depending on complexity. Therein lies the rub. What do you do when you're near what most people consider a retirement age and you don't have the assets to actually stop working? For the sake of today's episode, let's make retirement age 65. Well, here goes. First, and the most obvious solution is just to keep working if your health allows it. This is the reality for many Canadians. And I understand this is common sense and not really groundbreaking financial advice to be told, to keep working if you don't have the retirement assets. But there are some things to think about here. If you keep working, you may maintain access to your health benefits if your employer provides them. Things like extended health care, prescription drugs, dental, and vision can help protect you and your family from an unexpected health-related expense if this coverage was otherwise not in place. Second, if you're over the age of 65 and still working, you will have the option to continue to pay into the Canadian Pension Plan or stop contributions. Generally, I would suggest continuing payments into CPP to build up your pension, as your employer is also required to make contributions on your behalf. All of these contributions work together to help build up your pension benefit. This segues into the second consideration: when to start CPP. For most Canadians who have retirement assets, delaying CPP as late as possible is generally the best option to ensure a secure retirement. However, if you do not have sufficient means or you have a lowered life expectancy, the need to start CPP as early age 60 may be your reality. Taking your CPP pension before age 65 will reduce your benefit by 0.6% per month that it's taken before 65. So if you take it right at the age of 60, this is a full 36% permanent reduction in your pension. In easy numbers, if your full pension at 65 was going to be $1,000 a month, However, you started the pension at age 60, your new permanent pension amount would be $640 a month before any indexing. If you're curious about how much you could receive, sign into your My Service Canada account or submit a paper application to CRA to determine what this income might be. I'll be making an episode in the future to expand on this topic, so hit the subscribe button to get notified of future episodes. With that, if you haven't worked much over the years or you're relatively new to Canada, there may be not much CPP pension available for you to rely on. So what next? If you are age 65, you'll be able to start your Old Age Security Benefit, sometimes referred to as OAS. You do not need to contribute to this program as it is funded by the government's general revenues. This monthly taxable pension is dependent on how long you have been a Canadian resident. If you have been in Canada for at least 40 years after age 18, you would get the full amount, which in 2023 is $691 if you're between the ages of 65 and 74, and $760.10 if you are 75 and over. So as an easy example, if you're a newcomer to Canada, if you have only lived in Canada for 20 years, you would only receive half of this benefit amount. Okay, so if you are 65 and have started the OAS benefit, you may also qualify for the Guaranteed Income Supplement, or GIS. This is a non-taxable monthly payment provided to low-income OAS pensioners. The amount you can receive will be dependent on the amount of OAS you receive and your individual or household family income. As an example, if you are single, widowed, or divorced pensioner and your income is less than $20,952, you could receive a monthly non-taxable benefit. The amount you receive decreases as your taxable income increases. One important note here is that OAS income is not used in this income calculation. For more information on GIS and the amount you could receive, just type in GIS into the Google machine and click on the top Canada.ca webpage. Taking the GIS a step further are benefits called the allowance and the allowance for survivor. The allowance is eligible assuming the elder spouse is over age 65 and receiving the GIS benefit. The younger spouse is between ages 60 and 64, is a Canadian citizen or legal resident, has lived in Canada for at least 10 years since age 18, and together have a household income below a certain threshold. The allowance for survivor is eligible if you are age 60 to 64, you live in Canada, your spouse or common law partner has died, and since you have not remarried or become common law, and your income is below a certain threshold. Okay, so a lot to digest here, so let's work through a simple example to make sense of this. Let's assume a couple age 65 and 63. The older spouse is still working casually, earning $23,000 a year, and also started his OAS pension of $7,000 a year. Both have started their CPP, making a combined $9,000. So in total, their approximate household pre-tax income is $40,000. Now, when we apply our GIS and allowance assumptions based on this household income, we find that they are also eligible for an additional $2,900 annually of GIS and $2,200 annually for the allowance, bringing their household pre-tax income to just over $45,000. This is an oversimplified example that does not consider, individual deductions, your province of residence, your tax circumstances, and more. So please take this example as an illustration only. As you can see, there are some safety nets available to help boost income for lower income households. One crucial component to receiving these benefits is the need to file your taxes, even if your income is low or nil. If you don't file your taxes, the government won't know your income level and cannot determine how much of the benefit you and or your spouse may qualify for. Also, as mentioned previously, the length of which you have been a Canadian resident will impact not only your potential OAS, but also the GIS, allowance, and allowance for survivor. If you want to learn more about these public pensions, how and when to apply, how much you could receive, and more, please visit canada.ca or click the link in the show notes. Alright, so another consideration if you're looking to raise a bit of extra cash would be to consider donating plasma on a regular basis. I know some of you may be uncomfortable with a needle or even the thought of being compensated for giving a part of you, but I thought I should include this anyway. If you're eligible, you could receive up to $400 a month. So if you and your spouse were to both donate on a consistent basis, there is a great opportunity to help others in need and be compensated for your time. Keep in mind that this is considered a taxable benefit, so this could have implications on the aforementioned pension benefits. Anyway, please visit giveplasma.ca to learn more. And if you still want to donate plasma but don't really need the money, you can choose to direct your compensation directly to another charity to compound your giving. Alright, so let's discuss a few other financial planning considerations if you or someone you know doesn't have enough money to retire. In some scenarios, Canadians may not have the RRSPs, TFSAs, or pensions they need to create a retirement income. However, they may own their house free of all or nearly all debt. If this is the case, you'll want to weigh the option of selling your home versus renting. This can be a tricky one to navigate, as the sale of the property is often a difficult thing to part with all the baked-in memories associated with living there. Here are some questions to ponder when making this consideration. If I was to sell my home, how much would I receive net of closing costs and realtor fees? What is the monthly rent for a property in my area that is suitable for my needs? Based on all my sources of income plus the net house proceeds, how long will my money last? If I choose to stay in my home, will I be able to maintain the ongoing maintenance costs to retain my home's value? This is a scenario that you may be faced with as you approach retirement. For many Canadians, their home is by far their largest asset, so choosing to sell your home to afford retirement should not be taken lightly. You will need to have a clear action plan to map out this process, including how to best prepare your home for sale, how to create short-term and long-term income strategies, how to minimize tax, and maximize government benefits on a go-forward basis. Alright, so let's dive into a few action items for today's episode. First, if you know someone who's concerned about retirement, please share this episode with them. I would also suggest subscribing to my weekly newsletter to get relevant updates as you embark on your retirement journey. Second, visit the My Service Canada website and create an account if you haven't done so already. This is different than the My account you use with CRA to view your tax information. Again, the one I'm speaking of is called the My Service Canada account. Creating an account now will help you do things like request the CPP estimate, start your pension benefits, add direct deposit information, and more. There's a bit of a process here to get it all set up, but in my opinion, it's worth it in the long run. Next, have a look at the GIS and allowance benefits. I suggest you apply for these benefits if you think you may be eligible. The government may enroll you automatically, but it's likely the government of Canada doesn't have enough information on you to do so. Best not to rely on the government here and apply for yourself. I've come across a few scenarios where individuals have qualified in previous years but did not apply. If that is the case, submit your application as soon as possible. If you would have qualified, you may be eligible for up to 11 months of retroactive payments. So not all is lost. Lastly, go outside and take a walk. I find when I get stressed, being outside gives me time to gain clarity on my situation and think through my options. Fresh air won't solve your problems, but creating a plan, taking accountability, and taking action will. Okay, so that'll do it for today's episode. For all the links and resources discussed, please check out the link in the show notes or visit retiringcanada.ca. Be sure to sign up for my weekly Retiring Canada newsletter. And hey, when it comes to your retirement, don't take chances. Make a plan so you can retire with confidence.
All comments are of a general nature and should not be relied upon as individual advice. The views and opinions expressed in this commentary may not necessarily reflect those of Harbourfront Wealth Management. While every attempt is made to ensure accuracy, facts and figures are not guaranteed. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing or tax advice. Please seek advice from your accountant regarding anything raised in the content of the podcast regarding your individual tax situation. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.